feel
Three
like
unfavorite
y'all.
friends?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm not doing
Wait,
that.
what did
I
you
got them and I'm ready, but no, I'm not doing that.
She said 3 unfavored friends. Jewel, we
Least
won't put it in. Who are they? Don't put it.
no.
I'm not putting it in.
Okay.
Welcome back to Mother Knows Best Sometimes. I'm Mindy, and I'm here with my mom, Denise.
And I'm Charlie, and I'm here with my mom, Patty.
Hello.
So last week we talked about friendship breakups, and we had a lot of great information, but now we're going to go to the flip side of that and talk about good friendships and healthy friendships and what are qualities of a good friend. And speaking of good friends, we want to shout out our friend Drew because he has been such a faithful supporter of this podcast and given so much feedback and funny comments and listened. So we are going to ask the mothers to say either a favorite story about Drew or some favorite qualities about him.
I'll start. Drew is very unique. He always has a smile on his face. He's always friendly. I don't know that he meets strangers. I think everybody he meets, he is just so friendly. He's got a big smile. He's talkative. And I have a couple of stories that I remember. The first one is all of y'all were over at our house. It was before graduation, I believe. And most of y'all were in the back room watching a movie, and Drew came up front where I was for some reason, and we just were talking. I don't remember if we were talking about a girl or what, but it was just so nice. It was just a quiet conversation, and he really wanted to know what I thought about whatever that subject was. And then another thing I remember is I believe he was an usher at your wedding, and he walked your grandmother down the aisle. Is that correct?
Aww.
Oh, I think, well, he
And
definitely was an usher, but I think, yeah, he walked. I have to look at the photos. I can't remember who he walked.
I want to say he walked your grandmother, but it was just, he was just so proud. He had a big smile on his face coming down the aisle. Just really sweet. And the last one is all the mischief he caused when we went to the place in Thomas and spent the weekend. He was the mischief maker. Anyway, Denise, your turn. Denise, with all the trouble I had with my microphone, just want to say I didn't notice your hair and it's so pretty.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
It
But
looks
Drew
good.
is great, great, great. He is the funniest character, and I think I loved him from the first time I saw him, and especially he opened the truck door for Mindy anytime they went anywhere, and he's such a gentleman, and he is just so boisterous. And for you to say that y'all had a quiet conversation in the kitchen seems
We did.
impossible.
And it was just a sweet moment. It was just
Yeah,
I don't remember what the subject was, but it was just a
he
sweet moment.
Yes, I remember one time Mindy got a flat at the house, and Mindy took my car to the school, and I started walking to work, and so the house was left. We was at Wayne, so the house was left unattended, and he went change her tire. So he was just, and he
Hmm.
did things out of just,
Yeah.
just because he was that good of a guy, that good of a friend, nothing
Yeah.
more.
Hmm.
So yeah, he is
Yeah.
splendid, splendid.
So clearly we're all fan of Drew's too.
Yes,
We
Just like
are.
he's a fan of the podcast.
yes.
He will always be there. I feel like if you need something, he'll be there for you.
I am
have a s-
disappointed that I haven't seen any baby pictures.
I have a slight story that goes against him always being there, but it's a funny story that I always tell about him that I'll never let him live down because this was when I was in college and I came to his house and he knew that I was like had just gotten broken up with. He watched it happen. And I told him I was coming over after and I went to his house and him and John were watching The Walking Dead and it wasn't even like brand new like live airing. They had recorded it. So they're watching this recorded thing that they could pause and I walk in and I'm crying and I sit on the couch and they pause and they were like, "Can we talk about this after the episode?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm sitting on the couch crying, and they finished the episode of The Walking Dead before asking
Oh
me how
my
it went or what happened.
gosh.
So,
I take everything I said back. He sucks.
So I have a story about Drew when Drew helped me out. One time it was senior year of high school before I graduated, and I was over at house. I think he had picked me up, and we were supposed to like watch a movie or something, and his ex-girlfriend showed up, and I don't remember.
Who's the
I don't,
ex-girlfriend? Oh,
and I don't remember exactly how it happened. If she called him or something, but he said, "Let me go down there. I'll be right back. I just need to get her to go." So they were like out in the parking lot, and they were out there. And I don't want to exaggerate, but I really do think it was like 2 hours. Like I genuinely think it was like 2 hours, and I was really upset. And I called Drew, and I asked Drew I said, "I have to be home because I have a curfew, like whatever." And so I called Drew and I asked him, and he came and picked me up and he brought me home, which, wasn't close. Like it was like a 30-minute drive for him to bring me home and then go back to his house and everything.
well, what
Each
did that
way.
weasel say as you passed? You had to walk past him, huh?
No, I don't think I did because they lived in an apartment. And so there were multiple like parking lots, and they were in like the
Oh.
further parking lot. Yeah. And I could see them. They were like yelling at each other,
Yeah.
like fighting. And I was like,
So what did he say the next time you saw him?
so I have such a blurry memory of all of this, but Mindy could tell you what I said when I called her well, I mean, you don't have to say, exactly what I said, but because I don't know if you remember, but like, didn't I call you?
yeah, I don't remember like word for word what you said, but I remember I was with his brother at the time, and you called me and were just screaming on the phone to the way that he could hear it too. And he was just like, "Oh, he's such an idiot." And I was like mad too, because so we were both just mad about all of it. I don't remember exactly what you said. I just remember you like yelling about it. And then you said that Drew was on his way to pick you up, because I think it was before Drew had gotten there.
What Drew said when he got there.
I don't remember. See, I don't have that good of a memory of like details, but I'm sure he was upset. I feel like he probably said it was like, disrespectful or something.
Drew, let us know. Let us know what you remember about that
Yeah,
night.
Drew, tell us and we'll share it on the podcast. What do you remember?
And then was that the end of that?
No, it was
No.
not the end of that. But that, to be honest, that was just something kind of fun, like I didn't truly, I
That
feel
was
like.
so fast. I remember by the time I found out about it, it was over.
But anyway,
So Drew's a great friend.
Yes, Drew
an
is.
example of a great friend. Yes.
Wow, that took up the whole episode.
Not quite. What are some, what would you say are some qualities of a good friend?
Just there for you and, listen to you whine and cry and all your happy moments too. And you're both real with yourselves.
Mm.
Genuine.
Yeah, because that's a good point, because sometimes people can be there for you when you're like down and you're like upset or whatever, but then they won't really be there in the same way when you have good stuff going on.
Yeah,
Like
they only want the drama.
right.
Or vice
they don't-
versa. They're
Mhm.
only good
Yeah.
there for the good times and not when things are hard.
How about this? Name quickly off the top of your head your top 3 favorite friends of mine.
Top 3, I
Mm-hmm.
gotta think about that. Mindy, Irina, and Nate.
Nate
Ah.
doesn't count.
Nate counts. Nate does count.
But if Nate counts, he was last.
Well, only because I knew you weren't going to want me to throw him in there. I don't know. The third one,
It could be like lifetime, like, in my life.
Sandra.
I knew you were gonna say
Sandra.
Sandra. Sandra, if I knew that if I said lifetime, you would say Sandra.
I have never
Yeah.
heard of Sandra.
Sandra and I were best friends for a very long
Preschool,
time. Kindergarten
throughout
through
school. Probably,
it was through Katrina, because after Katrina is when her family moved to Texas.
yeah.
So it was like, middle of 4th grade or beginning of 4th grade.
She was precious. She was
Mhm.
precious.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Mom, what about you? Who's my
Who-
top? Oh, she was ready to name
Well,
them before I even asked the
I
question.
had time to think because, so I would say Melissa first, and then Charlie, and then now Kayla and Ashley.
Kayla and Ashley.
Yeah, they're kind of like ranked together. Who would you say?
I didn't expect. I expected Charlie to be number one, especially with
No,
her
no,
sin right
no.
here.
Yeah, no, they're going by,
Oh, you're going timeline.
yeah, I was going by,
Oh,
where they came at.
and lengthwise of time, right?
Yeah, and where they came at in your life, because you had Melissa from,
Kindergarten.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kayla's
I
another favorite of mine too.
I thought y'all would have said Jeremy.
I guess because he's
I
a
would say
dude. I
Jeremy
don't
too.
think of,
Yeah.
yeah, but he's a dude. I don't think of,
Oh.
just
Yeah,
like
I would say
Drew.
Jeremy too. Jeremy's
Yeah, he's in the clique.
We both were like, what if we're not on each other's mom's favorites?
Oh no, you were perfect. Yeah. Prior to you, yeah. Yeah. You came at the perfect time. Yeah. There was dark clouds and then the sunshine came when she met you.
Well, Charlie, what are some important qualities to you when it comes to good friendships?
Someone being like supportive is really important to me, like, of what I'm doing, or like being excited and happy for me when stuff's going good. Like kind of what your mom said, like being there if it's good or bad equally, and then I feel like someone I can trust is a big thing. And I feel like I think like a understanding, like caring person is like, I would have never said that before until like I had lots of like interactions with a friend who she was specifically not, it was like, no, like empathy, I guess is the word is, to use, because it's almost like they're like self-centered or something. And when something, you like have to change plans because something happened, they get upset, but the thing that's happening is to you, and so I feel like someone who has empathy is important to me too.
I feel like we've said a lot of the things. Definitely someone who's trustworthy. Definitely someone that's fun, like can have fun, but also like be able to just chill, like be able to just sit and talk and have conversations, but also be able to be spontaneous and like do fun things.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely supportive, interested in like what I'm doing, like whether that's school or work, interested in like my life, even if they don't like, you don't have to be super involved with it, but just kind of like a general awareness of what's going on in my life for like a really good friendship.
Yeah. Not like, what do you do again for work?
Yeah.
What's your
What did you go to school for? Which I've actually had someone ask me before. Like one of my good friends while I was in law school, and it was probably like a year and a half into law school, said, "What are you going to school for again?" And I was like, I'm in law school. Like, how is that something that you forget?
I would have said something different every single time they asked.
just keep saying different things.
Just keep saying different things.
Med school, law school, business school.
Like when I meet somebody and they ask me my name every time I meet them, I tell them a different name every time. They'll never remember it. So I just make up a name every time. It's like
Didn't
you
you
met me
have-
7 times.
I turn it. It's fine.
Didn't you have like a are we having a mother-daughter spat over there?
We are. He collects these little things for someone at work, collects them and turns them in for money. And I take it off of my cans, and she's over here like,
You shouldn't take it off before you finish the pop, because
Couldn't it
there's a
cut you?
tiny piece.
I
a tiny
turn it,
piece.
I take it off, and then I spin it to where the pointy piece is not there. I know what I'm doing.
Like,
I can drink a drink without getting hurt.
just do it after. It's on the safe side. Never take them off prior to drinking the drink.
Mother knows best.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Mom, didn't you have like a really good friend that y'all had like aliases for? Like y'all had
Oh, me and Melissa have that. I'm Sally and she's Susie.
you're Sally? I thought it was Cindy.
I'm Sally, she's Susie.
I had an
Did she
alias,
name-
but not with a friend.
No, I know you. Well, you had. I know you had an alias, but I'm talking about with that friend Ty.
Oh, yeah. Oh gosh. I can't even remember what we called each other. Fandango, and I can't remember the other one.
How did that start?
I used to always leave silly incoming voice messages on my voice machine. We used to have voice machines back then, and you'd have to record it on a tape on a little cassette. And I would
We were
always,
alive for this. We remember this.
okay, I didn't
All
know.
of our listeners may not have been though.
I didn't know. Anyway,
True.
I'd always leave funny, silly, outgoing ones. And his best friend needed a place to stay, and I had an extra room, so she rented a room. We became roommates. And when he would call for her, he would hear the voicemail, and then he started leaving silly voicemails for me, messages, not voicemails, messages. And then we just got to be friends, and we were friends leaving messages for each other before we ever really had a conversation in face-to-face person. We would just call and leave
Really?
crazy messages, and that was part of the thing. And we would make up silly songs and silly stories and leave it on the message.
And then y'all became pretty good friends after
And
that,
then we
though,
became
right?
pretty good friends. Yeah.
That's
When
cute.
didn't he always call and say hello, darling, or something
Hello,
like that?
darling. Yes, that was
Yeah.
how we started. Always started our conversations. Both of us, we always started the message that way. Hello, darling.
That's cute. That's like an interesting story of how you became friends with you
Mhm.
became friends with someone over voicemails.
Yeah. And I remember we all ended up going to Florida, and we ended up in a water park. And he talked me into going down the first big water slide. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, come on,
But
I'll go with you. I'll go with you. And it was because of him I went down the water slide. I think that was the only time I ever did
aw,
that.
that's
Hmm.
cute.
So
That's
you
a
know
good
my
thing too.
alias?
Yeah, I know your alias. That's for another episode, though.
Why do you have an alias? What is it?
It was when I was younger
It
than
was
y'all.
It was Mildred Pierce.
No, Mildred Marinello. Mildred Pierce
Marinello.
is the Joan Crawford movie.
But
Yeah.
that's what I had a question about, because I was telling Nate how when a boy would ask you for your number and stuff and your name, you would give them the fake name. And then
Mhm.
when they called the house, your brothers would answer and be like, nobody by that name lives here.
Right.
And it was funny, but then Nate had a good point. He was like, why did she even give them her real number to begin
Because
with?
because part of me felt bad that I was doing it. And then, I did, but part of me felt bad that I wasn't being honest.
So
So
real
you
name,
just half lied.
real number, fake name.
Yeah, but I think I finally got to the point where I gave a fake number too. That's a very long time ago.
I know me and my best friend, we would just give each other's numbers. Give our real name, but I would give her phone number and she would give my phone number.
That's
Like if y'all
funny.
didn't want to talk
If
to
we
the
didn't
guy.
want to talk to the guy. Yeah. Just
That's
opposite
funny.
phone numbers. Same, real name.
So when they call and be like, oh, is this so and so? I'll be like, no, I don't know who that is.
Oh, yeah. No, she doesn't live here,
Oh my gosh, that's funny. That's a good idea, honestly.
That
Mhm.
is funny. I feel like now it's too. I don't know. I feel like that's too easy to get caught because I feel
Oh,
like they text you
yes.
immediately, like, okay, you can save it, and it's
Gosh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't get a text.
Yeah.
We
Right.
used to be able to do prank calls, hang up on people,
Yes.
all kind of stuff, and nobody knew.
No.
Nobody knew what was going on because we didn't have the technology that we have today. Now you can't do that anymore.
Now you just
Oh,
have to be like, no, I'm not giving you my number.
No, it was big technology. I remember one time it used to be a big deal where you could call, like, my friend Carla called my friend Michelle, and then I was looped in. So I heard the call. What's a three-way call?
Three-way call,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that was the big thing because she called Michelle to find out what she was doing. I don't know. Michelle had plans or something, and Michelle saying how she invited Denise. Okay, I'm on the line. She never invited me. So then once they hung up, didn't Carla see? And so little girls were bitches always. So Carla couldn't wait for Michelle to hang up because they was always we were all five friends, but those two really butted heads. But yeah, so Michelle was saying, and then so once Michelle hung up, then Carla was like, "You see, she didn't invite you. She's not your friend." That kind of thing, trying to get you, to
Mm.
sway more to that side, more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like Mean Girls.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what I mean. They've always existed. It's always existed.
That's so
That makes
funny.
sense why anytime I'm on the phone with someone, I feel like my mom's like, they're not three-waying that person, are they? Like I'll be talking to Charlie, I'll be talking to like somebody and we'll like say someone else's name. And my mom's like, you sure they're not on three-way? And I'm like,
I don't even know if any of that exists anymore. Do you think it exists?
yeah, you can do a lot of people on a call. It's easy. But iPhones make it
Well,
easy.
on your phone, but Denise and I are talking about on
Yeah,
your home phone,
It was
your
a home
Oh,
call
phone, yeah.
phone.
It was a big deal. You paid
Yeah.
extra for that.
Exactly. You got your regular service and
Yeah.
it was just the phone. You could make calls and you could get calls. And then it was extra to have call waiting where
Yeah.
somebody could click in, extra to have three-way call. And I feel like there was something else.
caller
We
ID.
Yeah.
Caller ID, yeah. We finally got call waiting. And I remember I had some kind of emergency. My car broke down or something, I don't know. And kept trying my house and I'm like, I know we have call waiting. Nobody's answering the phone. One of my brothers was on the phone with the girl, wouldn't click over. I'm like,
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I remember before we had caller ID. I remember that far back because I remember
Oh,
a
yeah.
game changer when we got it finally.
Yeah.
Because we were probably at least a year behind everyone else that
And
had
I
it.
loved it. I had no idea how much I would love it.
Wow. Isn't
We
that
were-
crazy? You used to just have to answer the phone, not having any
Yeah.
clue
No. Yeah, it
who
sucked.
being.
you heard that?
Wait, what?
You heard that?
Heard what?
The guy down the street used to call us all the time and say, "This is Willie, you heard that?"
Oh gosh.
He was
Creepy.
an older guy. I don't know what was wrong with him, but he would call us all the time. And once we got
yikes.
caller ID, nobody got caught on the phone with him again. But before we got caller ID, somebody was always getting caught on the phone with him. And he'd talk about crazy stuff. Yeah, Tony Montana's hiding in the trash can.
Oh my goodness.
He was an older guy. He would cut the grass in the neighborhood. And we, sometimes we would walk home from school. We would walk 3 blocks out of the way if he was cutting grass just to avoid him because he would keep you standing there talking for an hour about stuff like that. Tony Montana hiding in the trash can. He was the FBI.
Oh
So
my-
he would just call, you would say hello, and he would be like, "You heard that?"
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And then he'd go, oh, oh, oh. Like he was in pain. We'd like, are you okay? What's wrong? You
He
heard
was
that?
probably going to the bathroom.
No, he just
Creepy fella.
I don't even know how he got our phone number, but somebody was always getting caught on the phone with him. And I remember we would hand it off to each other. So if somebody came in the door and like, oh, he's walking in the door right now, here you go, and hand it to the next person, they wouldn't know it was him on the phone, and then they'd get stuck. Otherwise, just be stuck on the phone with him for who knows how long. It was
Oh,
funny.
Willie.
Was he like saying like, "Did you hear that?" Like maybe it was a gunshot, and then he was acting like he had been shot.
No, I don't know. I don't know if he was acting like he was in pain. I'm not really sure. I just remember the first couple of times it was very traumatic. It was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I started understanding it was just his routine. But he always had stories with him. He was CIA, he was FBI, he was NFL football player. He was all these things. And just depending on the day when he called you, what his story was going to be.
Anyway, does anyone have any favorite stories with any of their friends? Like they're the good friends, not the friendship breakup stories.
Wait, I have a good story, and Mom, you don't know. This is good. This is a good story. Okay, this is about me and Mindy. So
Oh, okay.
remember when that I I went on like a few dates with that boy Destin?
She didn't
You-
even know
you-
about the dates?
No,
Who are
she
you
knows
talking
about
to?
them. You know, I'm talking to you.
Destin.
Yes, his name. It was only a few times. I mean, he hung out with us at Mindy's house once. We went paintballing with him.
He was also a twin.
He was a twin. Yeah.
What
Oh
was
my
he
God,
in
I
the
have tea about his brothers.
what was he in the parade?
He was one of the other people, like whatever I was. I don't remember, Anyway, you knew about this because you met him and everything. But I had gone on a few dates with him because it was y'all were a little concerned because he was in college and blah blah whatever. I was like 17. But anyway, he had texted me after some point because we become Facebook friends. I became Facebook friends with everybody in the parade. And I guess he messaged me or something like that. And he asked if I could go out. Wait, if I could go out with him. And it was the very first date. And I knew that you would not allow me to go if I was just going to go with him. So I said, like, Mindy's going to come with me. And you were like, that's fine. And I wasn't lying because Mindy did come with me. She literally, he didn't know who Mindy was. So Mindy tailed us. She sat right behind us in the movie theater. We went to the movies, and I know Mindy's there the whole time. This man doesn't know who Mindy is. And so Mindy's behind us. We we watched the whole movie together, but he didn't know. He thought it was just he was on a date with me. He didn't know he was on a date with me and my
Oh.
best friend. And then after we went and got in our car, or my car or his car, I don't know. Mindy was across the parking lot in her car with her binoculars. And that's a good friend, because I was like, I want to go, but like my mom's not gonna let me go myself, so you have to come. And she did. She came.
Don't worry, I was there for every second of it.
And he
Well, I hope
ended
you
up
have
meeting
pictures.
her.
I
He
do. I
ended
have
up-
pictures of like me walking directly behind them, like snapping pictures because I was so close to them. I
She
can't
sat directly behind us.
I
Like
need to see
directly.
his face because I really don't remember him.
Then he met Mindy like 2 times, 3
He's like,
times.
have we met before? You look so familiar.
He came to my house,
Yeah, he literally came to her house. Yeah.
Mhm. but we never told
Yeah.
him that story.
Yeah, that's a good friend.
That's a good friend story. Does anybody else have
Yeah.
a good friend story? I have a story for about Ashley. Whenever for I think one of the best surprises for my birthday one year, she coordinated. So I spent a summer in Yellowstone, like working for 3 months, and was really close with 2 people from there, Josh and Claire. And for my birthday the next year, Ashley like coordinated with them and planned a whole surprise. And one lived in like Ohio and one lived in New York.
Wow.
And she coordinated with them and had them both fly in for my birthday. And she had made this video compilation of a bunch of my friends saying like what they appreciate about me or like why I'm a good friend and stuff like that. And so she just had a bunch of people in this video. And then she even had videos of both of them. But then at the last part of the video was like them, Josh and Claire, and it was like, hey Mindy, if you haven't guessed it by now, turn around. And they were like, I'm just sitting there watching the video for like 20 minutes, and I turned around and they were standing behind me. And so that was probably one of the best surprises
That's
that a friend has
sweet.
ever
That
been.
was
That's a
that
good-
was really
that's-
sweet.
That's a really good surprise, especially that it was truly a surprise. Like she did all of that, and like, because you didn't know, right?
Oh,
I figured it out. I'm about
No.
to say that it's.
How'd you find out?
Josh actually ruined it because he was sending Ashley the video of him and Claire saying the like, hey, now that or if you haven't guessed it by now, turn around. And he sent me that video and I was like, no, the first version of it was like come outside because I guess they were trying to decide how they were going to surprise me. And so this was like the day before. And so I literally watched this video and like walked outside of my house and looked around and no one's there. And I'm like, what's happening? And then he called me and he was like, please don't ever tell Ashley this. So
Oh my.
But does Ashley know?
Wow.
no, I never told her. She might know
So-
now though.
But it was still good, even though.
This is the time when mother does not know best because mother told her not to do it.
Did I?
You did. You said you thought that was too much
Mm.
for her own daughter.
There's some things, I like to be more real. I play on the more realistic side.
I think it's probably about time to do our question. We are going to give you 1 minute each this time, not 30 seconds. Because that was requested by my mother, and we had a listener, Melissa, write in and tell us that she believes that y'all should get 1 minute instead of 30 seconds. So we will be allowing for 1 full minute. Last time, Mama D, you went first last time. So maybe this time my mom should go first. Okay, so this is from Ashley. How do you handle wanting to quit your job, especially due to a stressful work environment?
Well, you have to look at everything. You have to look at, is this just a very temporary feeling? Are there any things that you can do at work to alleviate some of the stress? Maybe move to a different position, or maybe get some projects off your project list that'll help alleviate some of the stress. Because a lot of times it's a temporary stress that you go through. But if it's not, you have to look to see how it's going to affect you, your future, your family. Do you have enough savings to make it through if you have to leave before you have something else? Is there what's the job market like? Do you want to stay in the same field? Do you want to switch fields? So there's a lot to consider before you can actually get to the point where you're ready to make that decision. But sometimes you have to say, where's my mental health in this? And your mental health has to play a role in it too. And I think that when you've looked at everything, the mental health
Okay,
could be the
time.
determining factor.
That was good. You just came right at it. So this question is from Ashley, and it says, how do you handle wanting to quit your job, especially due to a stressful work environment?
How do you handle it? Start looking for another one and give you notice. I mean, life is too short to stay somewhere where you're miserable. If it's not something that she could fix, if it was
Yeah.
a person that was bothering her, that's one thing. But, if it's just the stress of the job, yeah, I don't think it's not worth it.
Okay. You did that under your time. That was good.
Yeah, because I don't know. I can't imagine. I work alone.
I
And
told
sometimes
Charlie
you bring
before.
Pumpkin. He works
Yes,
with you.
I'm bringing him tonight. Yes.
I told Charlie before. I was like, my mom's gonna say quit.
Quit. Yes. Yes, quit. Especially because if it's Ashley, and if it's the Ashley I know, goodness, you're young. Come on. There's jobs
Yeah.
out there. Leave.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did you know what I was going to say, Charlie?
Yeah, I figured you would say basically what you said. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you have a question you want to ask the moms, you can DM us on Instagram at MKBSpod, or you can answer, if you're listening on Spotify, there's a little box, a question box that says, what advice do you need from the moms? And you can put your question right in there and we will get it. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
And the BS does not stand for a bleepable word. This may be the last moments of my life. I'm not sure.